Good evening and welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the talk show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so-called African American didn't get to America by way of a ship. I'm your host, the indigenous one. And today I just wanted a brother wrote me a letter. And I wanted to share the letter with you guys just to see so you can see what's happening, what changes are happening. And this is why I wanted to share this letter with you. And I also want to say thank you for the brother, because he sent a really, he was generous. And it's really, I really appreciate that. Thanks. He starts off the email like this. He sent me an email. He said, "Dear Mr. Davis, let me start off by saying your podcasts are great. I have never heard it quite put how you put it, and how you put it is how it should be put every day. Why do we keep seeing ourselves being murdered over and over again? I'm a little older than you, so I hope you will understand my question. When you say you are trying to psychologically connect us to this part of the earth, what do you mean exactly? I mean, we are here physically. Wouldn't psychologically be a given? Keep up the good work, Arthur Macallister." So he asked a couple of questions, and I just, and I want to take those questions, and if we really examine them, we can see what's happening to us. I've had certain people on, my podcast talking about there's certain things going on in life. We're all spread out. Some of us look at the sky. Some of us look at the ground. Some of us are paying attention to what's going on. And everybody's coming to the people who think, the people who use higher functions of the mind. Most people don't. Most people are on the stuff that glitters. If it's new, they don't listen to the wind. They don't look up at the sky. They don't look at the clouds. They don't listen. The music that you hear going today is not, it's noise. It's messing up your sound of hearing. That we have called hearing. It's a very important feature that the human has. But somehow we disrespect it. We don't care. We don't appreciate the arts anymore, on no kind. And if you look at Hollywood and those type of things, the foreigners are taking those over. The people who are replacing you are being put in those movie roles because those movie roles last a long time. You can go back in movies. You can go back into a movie in the 1980s and pull it up now. And who you see in the character is what you think about, is how you pick up some of the culture that other people do in their movies. The African American they don't make their own movies. Other people pay them to make movies for them. And we have a Oscar Michaud. We can't even express ideas. I mean, we have the capability of doing it, but we just sell out to the lowest bidder. So I want to get to the questions that these brothers had, because I think they was important, and I think the listening audience, hopefully you gain something out of it, you get something out of it. Help you, help you move along as we go through this. His first question is, why do we keep seeing ourselves being murdered over and over? Because that's what's being shown to you as death. You know, as a group of people, we really don't do anything about it. That protesting shit is about as lame as I don't know what. I mean, you don't see it's a ritual. I mean, it's been done so many times. Who's the guy the congressman in Georgia that just died? John Lewis. Ain't that what he was doing? We haven't upgraded 60 years later. I mean, come on. I mean, damn. We can't think of nothing new. And we've been shown that things that would work for us, and we refuse. We just keep doing the same old thing. Also, too, to raise your emotions. Your emotions are currency to these people. I wouldn't even call them people, because they treat people, humans, like garbage. Yet we bow down to them. I mean, the majority of us do. Do you honestly think your great-great-grandmama expected you to be living like this? And when I say this, you know connection to nature. Very little. Very little. Refuse to grow our own food with the talent that we have. Really? So you keep seeing yourselves being murdered over and over again because you'll watch it. As a group of people, you won't change, you won't shift the focus. And you can do it because everything you do, people take everything that you do and they monetize it for themselves. That's everything. And most of you listening know that. So we keep seeing ourselves murdered over and over again. Don't we do it to each other? Don't we do it to each other? Don't we kill each other? Don't we kill kids? Don't we sell children? Aren't we in this trafficking? Aren't the so-called African American? This is what's going on. All these foreigners are over here on your land and you're helping sell your women and everybody's cool with it. No, nobody has nothing to say. They cool. They don't care. Nigga, the game coming on. What you talking about? I gotta get these eyelashes in. That's where we at mentally. And when you say over and over again, I'm gonna jump off this one and go to the next question. When you say over and over again, remember, that's the ritual. You got to check out this sister, Deborah, Oklahoma. She talks about rituals. A ritual, we look at a ritual as a bad word, it's or a curse word or something. It's not. All a ritual is doing something over and over and over again. You're supposed to follow your own rituals. Your own rituals start with you breathing. We're not even into that. Blinking your eyes. Those are rituals, something you do over and over and over again. So why do we keep seeing ourselves being murdered over and over again? Because we made a pact with these people. We told them, hey, if you let us integrate with you, we're yours. Did you not do that? See, that's what the African Americans, that's what his forefathers, who were the blacks, did. If you let us come to school with you, you could have us. If you let us play your sports, you can have us. If you let us work on your jobs, you can have us. And we'll do exactly what you tell us to do. We won't think for ourselves. We won't try to, with all the other people are competing, all these other nationalities that have come over to America since that time, and all of them are eating into your civil rights, that the legislation that you put up, everybody's eating off that while we mentally, psychologically, spiritually die. And you watching it right now. So we participate in that ritual. We don't do nothing. And when I say we, this is what I mean. 90% of us. We should have had this changed a long time ago. But no, we keep wanting the trinkets that they give us. Think of the sister, because I talked to a sister. Think of this. This sister was shook. She goes, I just don't understand how Kamala Harris is getting all this ink. Everybody has all this love for Kamala Harris, yet she pretended to be black. And the sister was kind of, upset, and I didn't understand why. And she was like, what do you don't understand why I'm upset? I said, I don't understand why you're pissed off. She said, because she came over here and all these sisters, we've been in, she said something about 1908. She's in one of the, sororities things. We've been doing all this time. And then she just get to come over and run from, do you know how that looks on the world scene? She's she's an African American. She's an African American. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, but why are you mad? She's like, what do you mean why I'm mad? I'm like, you the one who let her in. Y'all sororities let her in. Y'all gave her okay. You started being Greek. You didn't want to be who you were. So she came in and played you because you was following some other stuff. This is the African American. This today. This is what we do. And you wonder why, huh? Think about that. Think about what other people who come from other places think of the people. If you go to some old places over in Norway or England or China, all those places, the people of the land are going to be there. They're not going to be these glitzy lip gloss, eyelash wearing. They're going to be real people. And while the African American is trying to be everything else, because when you think of African American, he doesn't have his own religion. He barely eats his own food. He don't make his own clothes or shoes, nothing. They get all that stuff from foreigners. And foreigners don't eat what you eat. They don't have the same foods in other places that you have here. And you try to go stuff your gut with that every day and wonder what's wrong. Talking about stuff that don't matter. This is why so you're in a ritual. You do it every day. We haven't created a ritual for ourselves that we do that would build for us. So when I say we're trying to get psychologically connected back to the earth, don't you think we should know that? Don't you think if we ate the foods that we ate, that we cultivated, don't you think that's the best stuff for us? I'm just saying. I mean, see, I know we mostly want lies and bullshit. Isn't that what we do? We want everybody else's. Everybody else's. Negroes eat more Chinese food in America than Chinese people do. Amen? Hmm? This is what the African American does. And then act like he doesn't do it. What you talking about? What's wrong? Like the sister who called me about the Kamala Harris thing. Why are you mad? Her brother got in pretending he was you. And she got in, right? Pretending she was you. And we were so busy looking the other way, we didn't even see. That's what happened. Hoodie Smoke says, how do I find my history past the 1900s? What history? What history are you looking for? If you're going back to your families, I go through the blood mothers, go through your mothers or the females' bloodlines, because the females are the ones who have the babies. If you're Indian related, I mean, your mother, what'd your grandmother say? The grandmother's gonna tell the kids what's up with them. This is what I mean, psychologically connecting you to your homeland. So some brother called me the other day and said his people was from the Ouachita Mountains. I mean, you should go into the Ouachita Mountains and see what's in the Ouachita Mountains. Because see, we don't go into the mountains. We left remember, we left the earth and we moved into these cities. We wanted to integrate. We wanted to be them. We got their religions, everything. We left what we were doing and and that's where you are now. That's where you are now. If you go back and look at the intricacy, the depth that these sisters made clothes, it would blow your mind. And the same with these buildings. We weren't living in teepees. That was those Native Americans living in teepees. Why were they living in tents? Because they were nomads. They were coming from another land. That's who Native Americans are. And we call ourselves Native Americans. That's a ritual that we play into. You're not Native American. Native American means just born here. Women come over from Russia and China every day to have a Native American baby. And we don't, and this has been going on for 100 years, and we still, more than 100 years, and we still don't know. We still confused. We don't know. The African American, one thing you can be sure, the African American, they really don't know much. Most of their training and learning comes from somebody telling them how life is, right or wrong. Oh, I've been tracing my grandfather. He said his father was full Blackfoot from Virginia. Okay, so this is what I mean. This is what I mean, Hoodie Smoke. So how terms get passed around and how we confuse it even more. We confuse it even more, and we're not willing to learn, and we're not willing to change. That's what's holding us up. So let me give you an example by just what you said. And we're just using this for a training lesson. Oh, I've been tracing my grandfather's because he said his father was full Blackfoot from Virginia. There is no Blackfoot. That's what other people call them. They call them Tar Heels. They call it Tobacco Road. They call those people Tar Heels and Blackfoot because of the industries that they were working in. If they worked in the coal mines, their shoes would be black. Their feet would be black. If they worked in the tobacco fields, their feet would be covered with the natural resources, tobacco. Black isn't an indigenous term that they call themselves. That's a term that was given to you by another person. And study the history of that word and how he came up with the word and why he affixed that name to you to put you in the ritual that you are in now. So go check out who the Saponis were. Check out who the surrounding nations were around the Saponi and the Tutelo, because they're probably the same people, just spread out. Some people moved to places and they called themselves after the mountains that were there. Or if they had certain trees or if certain things in nature were prominent, they would call themselves that. If they had certain animals, they were connected to the earth psychologically. People say, could they talk to animals? You can talk to animals now. I know people who, have a intimate, I'm not talking about sexual or anything like that, but intimate relationships with their dogs and cats. I've seen it. I've seen it. I never was that type person, but I've seen people do that. So psychologically connected to the earth means what do we do when the moon is like it is today? What should we be doing? What should we all be doing? What should we be doing on the next full moon? What should we be doing on the next quarter moon? We're not even connected to time like that. We don't observe. And then get mad and won't try to do it. We won't look at things through our point of view, from our point of view. We're always looking at it through somebody else's point of view. Like now, if you listen to a lot of these Obama lovers, they have a hatred for Trump. This is how you're controlled. This is how the leash is put on your neck every time. And these people have a hatred for Trump. And I say, and I go, well, why? Because he hasn't done nothing for us. Okay, but what have you done for yourself? Then the conversation breaks apart. Those people are going to look out for themselves. You would think we would too. We don't do that. We look out for other people and make sure other people are okay. This is what the African American does. The ex-Black people in America. Right? You have animals over here that you could eat. That you don't. I was talking to a friend of mine. He said when he used to work at Taco Bell, the meat, they never refrigerated the meat. They just always put it on a shelf. add water, that reconstructed stuff. So this was years ago when he was a kid. He's in his 40s now. Imagine what they graduated to. And this is what we do. This is what we do. We rather eat that than cultivate something from the ground ourselves here. You don't think by now, if we were still connected to the land, we'd come up with some foodstuffs that would keep us nutritious, fit? We can't do that. It don't pay enough. And you just gonna go ahead and be with these people that make food that is, and y'all know it ain't even food. It ain't even food, it ain't real. It tells you damn near on every package it's artificial, don't they? Hoodie Smoke says it's so messed up that our story is a shattered history. Well, I will say this. You are always creative. And you created so much that there's things that you can do if you just hopped in and play your role. But we want to play the role that somebody tells us to play. So keep paying attention to the events that are happening and changing, because it's changing big time. Many ain't gonna know what to do. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. The earth is changing. The earth is changing. And if we're not psychologically connected to it, what that mean? You'll be walking here like you would walk on Mars. That's how much the change is gonna be. The shift, as they call it. You see it's happening right in front of your eyes. You locked down for some reason. In Israel, they locked down. At 2 o'clock, you better be in the house. What does that sound like to you in the ritual? What part of the ritual does that sound like to you? To me, it sounds like they're rehearsing, because Israel is they get a whole bunch of their funds from you. They get billions of dollars from you. So it's an experiment to see if it works over there or it works over here. That's how I'm seeing it. So the social experiment that we're in right now, that you keep seeing going on, they keep killing you and they just keep running. They keep running like a dog chasing his tail. Every few years is something new. Jenna, everything is always, and it's always wrapped around you. See, the part of the ritual that we caught up in is this ritual of integration. Because remember, this is what we beg for. This is what Martin Luther King was saying. He took you into a burning house. This is right here is what he was talking about. But you worship him so the experiment can keep going on. Do you see how that works? That ritual works? It's real simple. It's real simple. It's like a woman who's in a relationship with an abusive man until she cracks his ass. Those ass whooping keeps coming. That's a ritual. That's a ritual. Something you do over and over again. You breathe over, and it's a ritual. And you make it a part of your life. You don't see that? And these are the rituals we want to participate. Oh, we want to participate in. We want to be a part of their legal system. Why don't you just have your own legal system and take in your own court? We can't transmogrify ourselves to do that. We won't do that. So the ritual of integration is all this stuff happening. You see it happening to us. Why? Because this is what we wanted. This is what we wanted. We wanted to be a part of this. We wanted to work with them. We didn't want to build something that was good for us. We didn't want to build cities where our folks are from for ourselves. We didn't want to make cars and get into the molecular structure of how everything is done. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to integrate. We wanted to have what everybody else had. And everybody else didn't have nothing. So they took you instead. So you became a part of all their religious cults, all of them. Very few indigenous Americans even know the spiritual practices of what their people did. They don't, and they do them every day themselves. Because you still do what your forefathers did. You just do it, you don't do it as often, or it's been breeded out of you. The way some people talk. You talk about the accent down south. The accent is just basically how the people talked. They didn't speak English. They didn't speak English. They didn't speak French. Those people came over here and had to adapt their way of speaking to the way the people here spoke. That goes over many of our heads. It's the simplest thing. If I go over your house, I'm going to put myself, not be how I am just by myself. I'm gonna try to fit in. If I'm coming to your country, that simple stuff like that. Not even, we don't even talk about that. We don't even talk about that. So the particular part of the experiment was integration. We want to go over here and be with those people. And when you left to go over there and be with those people, other people, foreigners, came and took your place where you walked out of. Right? Right? You have all these people suffering in these cities, and empty land is down south, and they won't even touch it. But other people are coming down. Because people are saying, well, why when these people come down here, they're going to the rural areas? Because that's where they come from, where they live. There's no people here. That's what all the foreigners are saying. They say, man, we thought America had 1 million. We killed ourselves out. So when you kill yourself out, other people come and take your place. This is what you're looking at in the movies now. They having Africans come and take your place in film, and they're having the actors that were once you, bringing them in. That's what's going on. That's what's going on right now. The trying to find the spirituality from learning what your ancestors worshipped. It really wasn't a worship thing, how you look at the word worship. The people just lived with nature. They lived with nature, like the earth was their home. The animals, and the animals, they were like brothers. They were like family members. They didn't look at animal as something to dominate, kill, and eat. They looked at things a whole lot different. And one of the ways you can find out is you just go there and live, just go where they're from. See how they did stuff. You can go some places. Check this out. I saw an apartment building built in the side of a mountain. An apartment building built in the side of a mountain. People live different ways. Depends on what they was doing, where they was traveling to. Were they going upstream or downstream? People were moving all up. People was on. You got rivers and lakes around here. You got the Gulf Coast down there. You don't do that no more because boss told you not to move. You get in one place and you stay there and you pay to live. You didn't do that. You traded tobacco for coal. You traded tobacco for cotton. Because what you did, see, the people that live in Virginia is gonna do something different with the cigars than what the people in Tennessee up in the mountains might do. Being with nature, being the best that you can be, trying to what's that mountaintop Martin Luther King talks about? When he talks about the mountaintop, when he say he may not get there with you, that's what he was talking about. Because what we're trying to do is get out of this slug what we're living in now. We're living snails live better than the average human. Snails live better than the average human. So the only way you're going to come up, you're going to have to psychologically connect yourself back to nature. Many won't do it. They're too petrified of it. So, but we're going through a change right now, and it would behoove you to get your foothold on something, some part of the earth. You can already see what's happening to the cities now. Those are just big, if you look at it from a planetary scale, the cities are basically roach motels. That's all they are. They got rats and roaches in New York City. Rats the size of cats. Roaches the size of those little play dogs that they have. All that toxicity in these cities. You heard of Flint. Flint's not the only place. Flint is just where everybody is focused at. They'll focus on that. But it's along the whole eastern seaboard to south. These pipes are old. All this stuff can't last forever. This can't, huh? How are you going to revamp the whole East Coast? all the pipes for clean water, and you really not even drink clean water, really? All the lakes are polluted. This is years ago. All these corporations and they messed up the oceans. You had that oil spill down in the Gulf a few years back. All that oil down there. What did that do to the environment down there? What did that do to the people down there? They got us fussing and fighting, doing all. If you look at African American, what they show you, you have to say they have to be the dumbest people ever. How do we get out of it? Stop supporting everybody? Or how do we do that? How they treat you, your businesses, you start treating their businesses. They give their money to each other. I mean, these are simple. This is what I mean about, questions. I know have to ask questions to get some understanding about some stuff, but stuff like that, them are dumb questions because you know what it is. Nobody supports you. Start supporting yourselves and stop supporting everybody. I mean, really, is it that hard? You got 50 states of people and you're not doing nothing? Really? You can't, with the technology that's available today, you can't take the South and start growing cotton and hemp again? That's an end and may clothes that the world would want. That, huh? I mean, well, I'm sure the church has got the money. The church has got the money. This is your ministers, your educators aren't thinking of things like this, and you follow them, and we're disrespectful to you. For real, cuz this is where you at. We happy because somebody a football coach. For real, cuz. Pay attention. Change is coming. No, you know what? I stand. What do you say? I stand corrected. Change is here. Pay attention to what's coming down, y'all. It's right in front of your eyes. Talk to you next time. Peace.